So let's move on to this. Why do so many businesses fail at marketing? Most obsess over the technology. Everywhere I go, people want to talk platforms. They want to talk social media. They want to talk Facebook. They want to talk Instagram. Every question starts with Facebook or Google or YouTube or newspaper ads or whatever. And I immediately bring it back to who's the person. Because once you understand them at a level better than your competition, again, follow the 80-20 rule. If you understand them better and you get their internal goals and you understand what moves them, what drives them, you do not have to worry about the platform. I can take the same headline, I can take the same video, I can take the same tweet or whatever, and I can just put it into different formats, and I do, by the way. When you guys read my emails, it's a blog. And when you see the tweets, it's just a phrase or a sentence that's come out of a blog and gone onto Twitter or on Facebook or whatever it will be. So the obsession over the platform, again, is back to it's almost like, if I stay over here and I obsess over this thing, it means I can hide away or shy away from the thing that I actually need to face up to, which is understanding how humans make decisions, which is understanding what words go in order to make a change in an individual. The problem for most is when you see it happening to you, it feels so real, it feels so normal, and it feels as though nothing actually happened. So your PTs will give you pushback about all of this being too salesy. They'll come in raving about a company that they did business with that weekend who actually did it to them. Because it was so good and it was so real, they never ever considered for 1 second that they were part of a sales process. But when you start to break down the process and you come in and you start to say, hey, we need you to do this, they'll give you the pushback. So again, the obsession over social or Twitter, and I understand it's trendy and exciting and all that type of stuff. The obsession will always go back to who is this person. And when people tell me, so I have a company that does digital marketing for physio clinics. And my competition or people who have worked with competitors in the past will say to me, I worked with this company, or this company said that they do digital marketing, or that they do Twitter, or that they do Facebook. I'm like, good. I use Facebook to make a change in an individual. It's a completely different way of looking at it. So while everybody's thinking about it, I'm still thinking about the person. And what words in the right order will make a change to the individual when they show up at my practice. It takes empathy to really make marketing work. There is a huge difference between compassion and empathy. Compassion is, I'm sorry to hear about your back pain, Mrs. Smith. Empathy is, I'm sorry to hear about your back pain because I understand that right now it's getting in the way of you being able to care for your wife. We're one step across. In the healthcare practice, and I mean this respectfully with all these eyeballs staring back at me, we think we're good at empathy. We're not. We're dreadful at empathy. It's a learned skill. And unless you've took the time to learn it, you will not deploy empathy. You deploy compassion. The healthcare practice is across the world. I don't doubt that any single person in healthcare is incredible at compassion. But empathy is a completely different skill. And it's something that you have to take the time to learn. And once you really understand it, your communication goes into a completely another level, both in terms of the written and the verbal. Double viewing. So I was like I said, I was in London a few weeks ago. I got the subway, so it would be like exactly the same in New York. You have people having conversations, with the next person. Not that a lot of that goes on subways, but you could have a friend or two friends sat next to each other having a conversation, and at the same time somebody's skimming through Facebook. And you look at your analytics on your website and you think, wow, we got 5,000 views to the blog. Good, for like half a second. Give me a newspaper ad any day of the week, it gets me 6 eyeballs, but gets read for 5 minutes. So as the world wants to take you to digital and take you into places that it wants to take you, it's often that it's not always the right place to go. And these are the things that you've got to factor in. Double viewing. Their attention is scattered. So when you're giving your prescription, right, 20 20 years ago when you give a prescription of care, there's half a chance that they actually heard some of it and interpreted it. These days, when was the last time you focused on anything? How many people have checked their phone in the last 40 minutes since I've been speaking? Half the fucking room. Half the room. Let's do this, right? You've flew thousands of miles to come and learn how to run a business, right? You've gone through, I seen all that on Facebook, it was hilarious, turbulent, worst flights ever and all the stuff that was going on Thursday or whatever it was, Wednesday. Dramatic experiences. $400 or $500 a ticket, however many dollars for a flight. 1,000 probably for this place to learn how to be more successful in business. And you don't even give us your attention. And you think that your patients are miraculously just going to give you theirs. Could we get any more hypocritical? They should listen to us all of a sudden because of a white coat or a D before our names or whatever. It's not going to happen. People's behavior is consistent 88% of the time. Does not matter what environment you put them in. So as you've got people in a room, or you're trying to put your Facebook ads up, and you just think that wonderful ad that you've written that you guarantee will resonate and will connect, and it's just the best thing Facebook's ever seen, and all of a sudden 3 weeks later nobody's clicked on it, or everybody has but nobody did anything. It's because of what 50% of the people in this room have done today. Fundamental principles of business and marketing and human behavior. So while, like I keep saying, everybody's obsessing over Facebook, I'm obsessing over you. Like, my goal is to know you better than you. And to a certain extent, I genuinely believe that I do, because that's all I do. Study you, I watch you, I see what you do, and I see the comments, I'm reading the books, just understanding it to a better level. So it means my technical kind of, or a lack of competence at a technical level in things like Facebook, I don't need it. I have a team of people who can do that type of thing, but I have to understand it from a behavior point of view, that the reason we need to put a blog up first is because of double viewing. And the reason that we need to put remarketing on the blog is because of double viewing. Because I know that when I've wrote a headline that says, have you got back pain and are you worried about missing out on golf this weekend, I've kind of got your attention. But I also know that probably 5 other platforms have as well. So if I can just get a sneak, like a little click, a little give me a sign with remarketing and pixels, it means I can follow up and I can continue to show it to you or another ad to you when I get you in a better place. Hopefully that night on the couch, while you're still double viewing, while you're talking to your girlfriend or you're talking to your wife or husband or whoever, and you're reading my blog post or my video for the 7th time in the last 7 days. But the first time that you saw it, you only watched 15 seconds. And then because you saw it again, you watched it a bit further until I enticed you all the way to the end of the video and you went, hey, this guy's actually not too bad. This guy's got something to say. Because that's what you do. And that's what patients do. There was a client of mine, a guy called David Brewer, and he doesn't mind telling me the story. He's from Florida. We met once in Epcot Center. I was in Florida last November with the kids, and I said, come on down, let's have a day, we'll go to Epcot. So as we were having a beer in London, in Epcot, I said, so how did you find me? How did you hear about me? He said, I watched a video online, I think. I was like, tell me more. He said, well, I saw the video, and I didn't really know what you were doing or what you were saying, but I just pressed this video and I watched it for a few seconds. And I said, then what did you do? He said, nothing. I said, well, what happened next? He said, well, I saw another video a few days later. I said, did you watch that one? Nope. I said, then what happened? Well, I saw another one and you were talking about customer service, and it's something that I believe to be passionate, or I believe in passionately that the healthcare really needs to start paying attention to. So I watched it, and anyway, I loved it. I said, so what did you do next? He said, well, I went to your YouTube channel. I said, well, then what did you do? He said, well, never spoke to my wife for a week because I pretty much watched every single video on your YouTube channel. I said, then what did you do? He said, well, I saw that you had this thing to join your email list. I was like, good. Did you join it? Yeah, he said, I joined it. I said, did you open my emails? Nope. So what happened next? Well, you sent me another email. I said, did you open it? Nope. What about the next one? He said, well, there was something in the subject line that caught my attention, so I opened it. And I read it. And anyway, here I am, like on the phone to you, having just given you $3,000. It does not get any more scientific than that. I've just described you my marketing plan. But I know that that's what goes on. And because it's me, and because it's my words, and because it's my video, I don't care. I've got no emotional attachment to whether you watch the video or you don't. Because I know, because of all of this stuff, that it will take me 10 goes. And it doesn't matter whether I'm on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. If I'm in enough places, and eventually I say the right thing that connects with you, the customer service was his. In my world at Paul Gough Physio Rooms, it would be about independence and mobility, because that's the person that I want to help with, and that would be the equivalent. Sort by price. This is wonderful. This is a great story. So a lady said to me from New Mexico once, Paul, we're having a problem because everybody around here wants to price shop. I said, good. Do you not think that they want to price shop in my town? Do you not think that they want to price shop in Toronto? Do you not think that they want to price shop in LA? Do you not think that they price shop in London? I've borderline banned now in my group somebody coming on or speaking to me with a phrase that starts with in. It's killing you all. In DC last week, here's a story. So I was in DC, Virginia, Alexandria. The lady started with, in my town, which sets the scene for an excuse as to why she's been, struggling in business for the last 5 years. She said, nobody wants to pay more than $135 for cash PT. I was like, oh, okay, good. Tell me more. She said, yep, they won't do it. Tried everything, will not happen, cannot get people to pay more than $135. Meanwhile, 2 seats to the left, there was a lady beaming with delight. I said, what are you laughing at? She said, well, I'm actually on the same street as that clinic, Pennsylvania Avenue, just around the corner from the White House. And I've been charging $225 for the last year. So the eyes of the lady who is adamant that nobody will pay more than $135 in DC now roll to anger, right? And I can see the math in her head going, well, if this has been going on for 5 years, I probably could have paid the mortgage off by now. So she goes, okay, well, if you're doing $225, I'm going to $195. And Trupti, this is a true story, if you know Trupti goes, okay, well, if you're going to $195, I'm going to $245. Right? Jake from Naples chirps up at this point. He goes, well, screw you. If yous are all going to that level, I'm going to $225 as well. And this is what was going on in the room, right? So and again, all back to the beginning of the talk, this fear, right? It's the fear that, this is just not going to work for me. And the fear is overcome when you do get in a room with people like this, and you do start to see that other people have been through what you've been through. So back to this sort by price, okay? It's in my town, everybody wants to shop around. You can thank this wonderful thing called Amazon for shopping around, okay? So I want a new TV. What do? I go to Amazon, I type 50-inch LCD. What happens next? How many options do I get? Hundreds. Critically, what's my behavior for the next 10 seconds, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, whatever? Do I shop in and shop out? Yeah, I'm shopping around. What baffles me is why you think that the next morning at 9 o'clock, they're miraculously, in the absence of anything else, not going to do that to you. It's a habit. It's a behavior pattern that doesn't, and I cannot say this enough, it does not change, it does not flip, it does not switch a light on and off just because it's back pain and it's your clinic and we just want them to. So sort by price is here and you will be killed by it. If you have price on your website, get it off. If there's one thing that you should do right now, if you have price on your website, send a message to your web designer and tell him to take it off right now. Because you are at the mercy of Amazon. How do you choose something on Amazon? The cheapest. Probably. 8 out of 10 times. Yeah? So if you have price on your website, You've just put yourself into that category. And in the absence of anything else, people will always default to the cheapest option. That anything else is the thing should be keeping you awake at night, asking yourself the question, what is it? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to separate myself from the other providers in my town? There is a complete lack of understanding of who their patient is, how little they know about what we do, and how quick or slow they are to make decisions. Primarily because of the way that the PT profession was built, which was from doctor referrals. We've assumed that all of these patients are created equal. Welcome to the big bad world of direct marketing, of healthcare consumerism, of people taking choice. Everybody wants to say in their decision-making process. And yet when we give them the choice, do they want it? British government announced a few years back something called, it was literally patient choice, patient-centered choice or whatever it was, right? And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, these guys have come up with something else. Let's see what they do to screw this one up. So patient choice came along, and it basically meant that if you go to a doctor with back pain, okay, traditionally he'd have gone, here's a referral, go see the local NHS physio, yada, yada, right? Now, no, it's not as simple as that anymore. It's, here's 10 names, here's 10 addresses, choose your own. What is the chances of me getting that decision right? I'm a lay guy or girl on the street. I know nothing. What's the chances of me getting that decision right? Of choosing the right provider? If you truly understand the patient, this is what goes on. He goes home or she goes home, let's say it's a he. What did the doctor say? Well, he said, I've got back pain. What do you need to do? You need to get physical therapy. All right, good. Did he tell you where? Well, he gave me a list of 10. I don't know which one to pick. Do you, love? Which one should we pick? We would like to assume in our logic that they'll ring all 10. But reality is, screw it. I'll get around to that at another day. I'll call them next week when I've got time. There's a wonderful phrase, and this sums up physical therapy. What gets done anytime gets done no time. We are a generalist. As a macro level, we can be done anytime. You want to know why people put off physical therapy to go and get their car done? Because legally, they probably have to. It's not an anytime. If I need an MOT or a service in Britain, I'm only taking my car in. Usually in my world, it's like I've got about 6 hours to get the bloody thing stamped. So because I have to get it done, it's getting done. But with physical therapy, we're an anytime product. And what gets done, or what can get done anytime, gets done no time. How many people in here decided to come and then thought, I must book those flights. I must book those flights to get the cheapest seat. And then 3 months goes by and it's like, shit. I knew I should have booked that back in January. Everyone in the room, me included. Luckily, Natalie does all of that stuff for us. But we still fight like cat and dog over it. Have you booked those flights yet? No, we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes and goes, and now it's a month on, and the flight is not $1,000 anymore, it's $1,500. Ever experienced that? PT's the same. Ain't no different. If it can get done anytime, and usually the ease of access to it, the worse we are at actually making the decision on it. You want to know why that's relevant? Because if I can book a flight anytime, anywhere, I can book a PT anytime, anywhere. I can search for one on my iPhone, and I'll bring up 15 different PTs in this area within a 10 mile radius. An abundance of choice doesn't always mean for a successful outcome. If anything, it's confusion. It's the fear of getting the decision wrong. And as patients get to a certain age, particularly, they've made so many wrong decisions, they become risk averse. They spend more time figuring out why something shouldn't be done and is more likely to go wrong than it is to actually go right for them. So factor all of that in. They are very slow to make decisions over $100. I said it before. An impulse decision is under $100. If you take me over $100, I need time. I'm putting time in the way. Harry comes up to me in the store. We're in the Super Fast or whatever it's called down the road. And he says, Dad, can I have the gun? So he sees the toy Super Soaker gun thing, right? My first reaction is what? I'm looking for this little label somewhere, which is the price. Yes or no? So if I see it say $27.99, Okay, we'll go with that, son. If it's $127.99 because he wants the big super soaker thing, it's ask grandma. Yes or no? It's a birthday. It's a treat. It's, if you do all your homework, whatever age these kids are, you don't know this is going on. And this is what I mean. When you step outside of all of these things and you start to see what you're doing, this is what your patients will do. And it's not because they're cheap. It's not because they're tight. It's not because they do not value their health. It's because this is how fundamentally we are hardwired to make decisions. If you want to go to TGI Fridays, if me and Natalie want to go to TGI Fridays this weekend, might cost me $50. Let's go. If she says, hey, let's go to Morton's or Fleming's, let's pencil that one in for a birthday. Because it's $200 or $300, potentially. So whenever anything rises over and above, and this is what you need to understand, anything over $100, we put time in the way by default. So the winners in business will go to the people who factor in time. And you will be rewarded, and this is the thing that I always say. When I say to businesses, you need to give them 20 minutes on the phone, or you need to build a marketing system that allows 3 or 4 phone calls over a 6-week period before they say yes. They say, well, we haven't got that in our business model, or we haven't got that in our budget, or we haven't got that in our staffing capability because we can't afford it. I'm like, yeah, because your model's screwed, completely screwed, massively, royally against you. You have no chance of victory at all. It defies all logic, which is why the cash-based or Jerry's out-of-network model allows you to start to dictate and set prices based upon giving value. You will always be rewarded for the value that you give, and ultimately for the time that you give. So if I give 20 minutes on the front end, that allows me to charge 150% more than my competition around the corner who haven't figured this out yet. So when he's bemoaning and criticizing me to all his patients and saying, how can that guy around there charge 2x, 3 times as much as I am? He hasn't figured out that the variable is not the logic, is not the skill. It's the time on the front end. It's the time in the follow-up system. It's time in understanding that people need this to actually make a confident decision. And when I get them as patients, they are all in. All in. Every one of you does it. In every walk of life. The longer that you take to make the decision, once you've made the decision, let's go back to Amazon. So you spend a year thinking about getting a new TV, right? You make the decision to buy the TV, and it's like, I just want this tomorrow. And you get quite ratty at the fact that the TV is 12 hours or 24 hours later than it should have been delivered, but you took 24 months to figure out how to buy one. Yes or no? That's what we do. That's what they do, and that's what they will always do. So the time that they take in 6 months to make a decision, once they're in, they're in. And as a result, they often pay higher prices, and they stay for longer. There is only 3 ways to grow a business. Bring more people to your business, raise the rates, and get them buying more often. If you can't do the last 2, it's a complete waste of time, completely inefficient, the first one. And everywhere I go, everybody's obsessed with more patients, more patients. For most people in this room, it'll be the latter. The final 2. And if you figure out how to do that, which is all of this stuff, you will be more profitable, insanely more profitable, for less hassle. So, last couple. Lack of understanding of the importance of the order in which people move along in the decision-making process. Give you a quick example. So everywhere I go, again, on social media and Facebook right now, every physical therapist wants to put up 10 exercises for iliopsoas, or 10 exercises for patellar tendonitis, or 10 exercises for peroneal tendon problems. I'm like, good. You've just given me the how. Failing to understand that human beings need to understand the why, then the what, and then I buy the how. It's lazy. It's lazy as shit. It's the worst and most ridiculous thing that I'm seeing anybody doing on social media right now is give away their exercises. If that's your pull, you've missed the why. I don't buy anything until I understand why I need it. So if you want to put out exercises for sciatica, you're assuming that I understand that I have sciatica. On a macro level, again, this is the fault of the profession. On a macro level, the people that come to you who are, yeah, I need help for sciatica. For every one who knows they have it, there's 100 who has a problem that gets worse when they stand up. There is 100 who have a problem that they can't figure out why. They've got this horrible burning pain in the back of their calf, or numbness and pins and needles in their toe, and can't for the life of them think why the doctor said that they've got a back problem when they've got pain in their leg. You do go on Google Analytics and work out the number of people searching for physical therapy. For every one, you'll have 100 searching for, what do I do to ease back pain, symptoms of back pain. And yet everybody's website is a physical therapy website. The best one, it's always the best. I'm good. You've just narrowed down the number of people who potentially will do business with you by about 100%. Let me know how that business goes. Again, a complete lack of understanding. We're having to reverse the model because the doctor referrals, they know of an in-network business. They know that they've got sciatica. The biggest area of opportunity for businesses in here is to tap into the other 99 who know that they have a problem in their foot but can't figure out why. And if you can help those people, Jerry is right. They're the ones who don't ring up and say, what's the price? What's the in-net? It's like, you identified with me, you get me, you seem to tell a story better than anybody else. I'll buy from you if you educate me around the why. So you put out on a Facebook or a social media post, it would be, hey, here's why you wake up on a morning in the fetal position and you think, I wonder if my back pain's gone. And then when you stand up or you get yourself very slowly and tentatively to the edge of the bed and you go from a sit to stand position, this horrible pain in your leg returns. It shoots all the way down your hamstring into your calf and causes that burning, tingling, numbness sensation into your toes. Does that sound like you? Good. If that's you, then here's what you need to do. And then once I've given you the what, it also includes access to me, the how. And it tells you how to get access to the how. I just described a conversation that is going through somebody's head with sciatica, without using the word sciatica and without using the words physical therapy. And I will charge 5 times as much as you will for putting out the exercises for sciatica. And my clinic would beat you all day. All day. Because that person is able to make a very confident decision on me, and he's basing the whole thing on one thing. This person gets me. Probably better than he gets himself. And if I'm able to tell that story on social media, I'm getting his business. I don't get copay questions. I don't get money questions. I don't get, on a micro level, 1 out of 10, yes. But again, everybody's building their business for the one question. Well, there was a scenario in 2003 where this patient asked me this. Or, well, there was a scenario once where we did get a patient from the exercises that we put out in 2013. Good. What's gone on since? Not much. So let's not build our businesses for that. Last one. Healthcare practitioner, this is great. You've spent 5 years being logical as hell. Your ass depends upon being logical. Your ass depends upon your ability to look at something, assess the danger of it, critically be aware of everything to do with their injury. This creature, this thing in front of you, this problem, this symptom, this diagnosis, they are hounding you and turning you into a logical human being. The problem is, the creature in front of you is emotional and irrational as hell. Best book I've ever read, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. If you have a problem with patients pushing back against you or staff pushing back against you, you need to read Predictably Irrational. It sums this up. The emotional connection is the default of the world. And you've spent 5 years and then however many weekends on Con Ed courses thinking again that it's all about the logic. It's not going to help you if you stay in that lane.